up for grabs across all social media platforms. We do want to hear from you. We want to know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and we want to be your voice. Now it's time to get into an interesting conversation. The Peja Festival, right? Peja Literary Festival. It's a literary festival in Accra, at the center of the world, where the Greenwich Meridian meets the equator. And it's been going on since 2017. And over the years, even through the height of COVID, writers, literary players, literary stakeholders have trooped to Accra to come and have discussions, to come and learn, to celebrate the art that is writing and all that comes with it. So it's time again for the festival. It takes place this weekend, and I have the perfect people to speak to me about it here in the studio. This gentleman, he has no reason to be introduced when it comes to the literary circles. Fui Kantamaklo, legend in our space, a living legend of our time, and he's handling technical logistics for Peja. So he doesn't just write, guys, he does technical stuff too. How cool is that? And then we have Nana Ikuya Brew Hammond, also a very accomplished writer. Now, if you haven't read her work, go look for it. You'd be amazed that there's someone like this on your screen and you didn't know that she existed. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good to see you both.
Yes, good to be here.
See you both. Now, I did mention that Peja began in 2017. I remember very well when it started, but let's just talk about where the name comes from. There's a lot of, what does Peja mean? Is it Peja? Or, you know, Peja or Peja, like, what does it mean?
It's interesting because the other day we were with the executive director for the National Folklore Board, and Peja is an Idinkra symbol. And we don't use the Idinkra symbol itself, we just use the name for the Idinkra symbol. But basically what it means is to uplift, but people can also translate it to mean to go and look for fire.
For fire, yes.
So I feel like
double entendre.
Yeah, exactly.
We leave it
for the interpretation of whoever it is that hears it. Yeah.
Wonderful. So let's talk about how far Peja has come. This year, it's not even just taking place in one location.
It's not. No.
So let's talk about the different locations and how much the festival has grown. That it's become necessary to do that.
So we started in 2017. That was at the Goethe Institute, and we've pretty much outgrown the location. Even though the Goethe Institute are our main sponsors. So right now we are having, this particular festival is the Sith Festival. We're having it at the Goethe Institute, we are having it at the Embassy of, the Netherlands Embassy, and also the Du Bois Center, the FCA. And so right now Peja is no longer in one location, we've expanded to 3 different locations, which I think is impressive. We've been growing though, I think in 2020 there was a bit of a hiccup because of COVID, where we had to do, normally Peja is an in-person festival, but we had to move from in-person to in-person and online streaming. We are going back to in-person slowly, we are taking it back, and because it's in-person now, we've also realized that even though we took a hit when it comes to audience in 2020, people are still interested in the festival, and so we've spilled out into 3 different locations. Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, I mean, before I move on to Nana Ikuya, who are the organizers of Peja, for the avoidance of doubt?
Right. So Peja is organized by the Writers Project Ghana, which was founded by Martin Egblogbe, Mamle Kabu, and the recently deceased Laban Hill. So Writers Project is the one who organizes Peja, but it's been sponsored by the EU, has been sponsored by the Goethe Institute, Anglo Gold, Ashanti, and the Pabli publishers, basically.
Yes. And of course, if you listen to 97.3 Citi FM, our radio outfit, every Sunday evening at 8:30 p.m., you will hear that the Writers Project of Ghana has a radio show, and writers from all across the country and indeed the world now, because they're calling people on Zoom, via phone, and they're sharing their work and just educating and inspiring and entertaining through their writing. Now, let's talk about Peja this year. Nana Ikuya, what will your role be? I mean, having you there, just your presence is golden. But what will your role be this year?
Well, I feel honored. I just want to say I'm so thankful to Martin and Mamle and Liz Johnson and all of you for putting this festival together, because as writers, we really need that community. We need that support and that platform. So I've been going since the beginning, and I'm so excited to be back. This year, I'm going to be moderating a discussion on with the writer Yawande Omotoso. She's written a book called An Unusual Grief. So I'm so excited to be having a discussion with her about her book.
Wonderful. Are you going to be doing any sessions yourself apart from moderating? Are you doing any workshops? Or you're just, gracing us with your literary royalty?
Well, oh my gosh, I'm just moderating the discussion with Yawande, but I'm also here as a writer as well, so I always got to promote.
Yeah.
I have an anthology of African and diaspora writers that I've edited. It's coming out in January 2023 from Harper Via, which is an imprint of HarperCollins. It's great. We've got some great Ghanaian writers in here, including Aisha Haruna Atta, Boachua Glover, and Nana Nyaku Boating, as well as myself. And then I have a children's picture book that will also be available.
Blue.
It's called Blue. I love this book.
I love Blue.
Yes, you will love this book, and I see you love color. I love color too, and it's about the history of the color blue. So this book will also be available for anybody who wants to learn about this and share it with their children in their lives.
Wonderful. Sophie, let me come back to you. Yeah. What are some of the things that people can expect for Peja? Peja is free, right?
No, Page 100% free.
Okay. Nothing is paid for.
All you have to do is show up. Unless you want to buy a book, then you have to pay for that. But all you have to do is show up, and it's. I think that people need to understand just how big the festival is. Writing transcends just beyond books. We have writing in films, we have writing in music. And so across the 3 days of Peja, you're going to see different kinds of people who interact with writers. You're going to see legendary filmmaker Kwa Ansa in talks with Aseye Tamaklo about how to use filmmaking to tell stories. You're going to see Aman Ziba, you're going to see Zab Mallet talking about how to use whether to create new art or preserve old art. So there's like a different audience for everybody essentially. An audio drama that I worked on with Joe Wako Kusi is also going to be played at the festival. So that's also like an audio aspect of things. So it's free. Go to the website. That's writersprojectghana.com. Look at the schedule, see what you're interested in, and just show up, basically.
Wonderful,
yeah.
Wonderful. What are some of, you've mentioned some very interesting things, but what are some of the highlights as well? I guess.
The highlights. So there's
everything is a highlight with Peja, but
Yes, exactly. So the festival begins on Friday. The official opening ceremony is at 5:30 p.m. And after that, you have one highlight event, which is the discussion I mentioned earlier between Aseye Tamaklo, who's an academic and filmmaker. And
yes, Aseye Tamaklo is a board member, an academy member of the Entertainment Achievement Awards, which we do here at Citi.
Exactly.
So she's a friend of the Citi.
Exactly. And then we have the legendary Kwa Ansa also. They will be in conversation about filmmaking and how we can use that to tell stories. On Sunday too, we also have a highlight event before normal traditional closing of the ceremony, which I'll come to. We have a conversation with Aman Ziba, Zab Mallet, and Bernard Akwe Jackson, and they'll be talking about whether to create new art or preserve new art. Have a debate on that.
Artistic groups.
and then to close off the entire program, as usual, we have Live Across Africa, a poetry show, which I know you are a staple in.
Yes.
Yeah, so
I will be hosting it.
Exactly, and so if you don't even like us or you want to see Apioko, feel free to show up. Yeah. So that's those are like some of the highlights that about on the festival. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so once again, let's run through the website details, so that anyone who wants to see what the schedule looks like and just pinpoint what they want to do.
Great. It's a pretty easy website to maneuver. All you have to do is go to writersprojectghana.com. Once you get there, you're going to see news about Peja. You can find the schedule from there. The schedules are also downloadable, your PDFs, so you can have them on your phone. You don't have to always go to the website to see what's happening. And also you can just follow us on Instagram and Twitter. That's WritersPG. That's literally it. We will keep you updated on whatever occurs during the festival.
Brilliant. Nanekia, any final words?
Just happy to be here, and I can't wait to see you hosting the live poetry show.
Wonderful, and I will definitely be at your session.
Thank you.
You know, it's what as
It's a conversation with Yewande Omotoso.
what's the name of the book again?
An Unusual Grief.
Unusual
So
Grief.
Isn't that a
beautiful
great title?
An Unusual
So
Grief.
beautiful title.
My
yeah.
Usual Grief. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Free Kantamako, of course, he's a writer. Those who know him, they know. You know, if you know, you know. But he's also handling logistics and technical stuff for the Peja Festival 2022. And of course, Nanekia Bruhaman, an astute and celebrated writer of our time. Let's take a look at the trailer for The Hairdressers and see what's going to happen tonight.